I have one question from Richard Klein, who is our guest curator and juror of our contemporary sculpture at Chesterwood exhibition this year. He's also the exhibits director at the Aldrich Contemporary Museum of Art. And Richard wanted to be with us today, but had conflict in his schedule. Richard asks, what is the relevancy and potential of public figurative sculpture in our present moment?
You know, I was thinking too, like, this is actually a great moment for architecture. And I feel very aware of, you know, from the time I started, I mean, there was interesting modernist architecture, but there was definitely, postmodernism was a kind of revolution against modernism in art and in architecture. And I was thinking the more the architecture becomes sculptural in the abstract modernist sense, the more what artists will want to do is something that doesn't look like. So for a long time, all public commissions were, you know, Sarah, or before that, Calder, and, you know, more abstract artists. I think a lot of them went to the modernists, basically. That was the kind of signature that, you know, if somebody built a new museum or even a forward-looking corporate headquarters, if you had a Calder on the corner of your building, or, you know, you name it, Sarah, or
Right.
it was a signal that you were a forward-looking. But we've evolved past that. You know, postmodernism brought us someplace else, and now we're past that. And now, you know, with Frank Gehry and what he attributes to being able to work on a computer, the ability to make, you know, those curved.
Building itself, it's sculptural,
Yeah.
becomes the monument.
Yeah, and so, you know, there's always a healthy rivalry between architects and sculptors. And so I was thinking, you know, what would you rather put on the corner of a building like the Guggenheim Bilbao or something, you know? You'd almost want to go conventional and do a bronze statue, you know, I mean, because that would be like revolutionary or radical. I mean, that was just one thought that passed through when we were reading this question.
Also scale, the difference in scale today.
Right. But I also think there's an interest in figurative sculpture to work in life scale again, and even smaller. Some of the, you know, I mean, there's a kind of play of scales, like Nina LeVay, who's in the show here, the baby carriage piece. And the head is bigger than life scale, but she's done works where the heads were monument scale, like Olmec heads. You know, so there's also people playing with scale, not where you just have to choose your signature as one scale only. You only work in this scale, whatever it is.
It's out of proportion for a reason.
Right.
To make a statement.
Exactly. And in a way, you know, because of 9/11 and we're at war, I think there is a sentiment for memorializing in a different way than there was 20 years ago. Like with French, you know, memorials don't happen right when something happens. They take years. You know, it's a synthesis. It has to be. In fact, when I did this show, Legacy Collection, the first showing of it was in Brooklyn about a year ago, exactly a year ago. And a number of people talked to me about it as, you know, saying, it's funny, but all of a sudden there are more artists doing 9/11 work. And I said, well, you know, it takes a while. Some people did immediate pieces, but they were, you know, based on really older work, because it takes a while to germinate, you know, something that's, you could do something that would look like it, but something that's really affected by it takes time to come out. And I think, you know, also there are more books now still. I mean, or I was thinking I have a bookshelf of Vietnam-related books. And I was looking recently at like when were they published? You know, and I mean, many of them are written by veterans, and,
Mhm.
you know, it took years. So, you know, it was like, or one was the first film, you know, about, that had Vietnam as a subject. Maybe it was Apocalypse Now, which
Mhm.
was after the war was over. You know, it takes time. So,
Takes time for that reflection.
yeah,